Beginning of day 2 of part B on the part B on the coolant system cleaner. So I'll just top up the radiator with, this is just water, but I want to see what colour well, it's taking a bit, but that's quite probably, there we go, I think that's pretty well full. This will overfill it, because when you run it, there we go, it pushes it around, but now we've got, that'll overflow again. But I'll now start it. There was a time when starting this car was just horrendous, and I had to put in a huge amount of work to get it to work. Turned out to be the electronic ignition module, and I replaced it, and that module wasn't the right module, and it took me months and months and a whole lot of work to figure that out. But let's see how it starts. Okay, that was cold overnight. Okay, so our water is gone. Oh no, it's just sitting down in there. Just put a little bit more water in. There we go. And let's see what it looks like. I'll give it a bit of a rev. I'll go get a torch because I can't actually tell. Okay, so here it is. It's definitely changed colour from last night. So let's see what happens, but it's not that black that it was. So I'll let this come up to temperature. Yeah, there you go. It's going to overflow now. Yeah, it's still quite dirty. So that probably means we're getting another level of clean. That'll be the detergent at work, I guess. So wait and see again. Now this is interesting. We're getting some sort of effervescing or something. Try and get it light right, but you see there's some sort of reaction going on there. A little bit of effervescing and so forth. So yeah, I think we're getting some chemical reaction going on there. Hopefully it's a good one, not a bad one. But I'll be very interested to take the cover off, the thermostat cover off, and have a look. I should have taken a photo, or should have taken a video of the thermostat housing before I started, because you could see that it was definitely quite dirty. You can get some idea. Here's the thermostat. This was a brand new thermostat. I'll just put it out here. There's the mess from the sock yesterday. Yeah, that was a brand new thermostat, and you can see that there's a lot of caked up muck on it, that crusty black. Probably don't need this torch on now. And if we scratch it, does it come off? Yeah, it's quite heavily caked on. So the whole of the where the thermostat housing, in the thermostat housing, was all like this at the beginning, and I'm assuming that that's pretty typical of what the engine looked like. So I'll be very interested to see what it looks like when I change out, when I take the cowling, the thermostat housing back off. But yeah, I just put the sock onto here. That was a clean, it's a bin lid, and that's what has dried up, and there's all of these. Well, they just blew away, but it's definitely made some difference. That was all in the engine before, plus another load, and I'm assuming that there'd be a certain amount of it just gone into solution. So I've no doubt that the engine will be noticeably cleaner. Whether it makes a difference for my engine is another question. And we can hear here what my next job is. This manifold has leaked for a long time. I think it's blowing past at the bottom. I had that machine, or Dad and I had a machine, when we put this new paint on. This is about 4 years ago that this paint went on the car, but while we were doing that, we had a lot of trouble with, we got new heads, that's a replacement carburetor. I've had so much go on, but I don't think it's blowing past on the flange gasket. I think it's actually blowing past on the manifold. So I checked, it's just a tiny bit long for my milling machine, but I think I can actually machine it by using a fly cutter. It'll be interesting working out how to hold that, but I'll work something out. And just put that in and just take a light skim off and replace the gasket, and see if I can get that leak to not leak. This side of the engine seems okay, so that's my next bit of a job. So the car's coming back up to temperature now, well, halfway. It's taken about 10 minutes or so to get here. Let's try and get that to focus. So it's not performing significantly different at this stage. I don't know why that's not focusing. Anyway, time to turn it off. That's the first of a number of cycles today. I might give Peter a call again and see what he recommends. Make sure we give this stuff the best chance of working. So another run. I've just refilled that just up. Just keep topping it up so I can see it. I don't know whether we can say it's changing colour dramatically or not. I don't think it's the same black, but it's certainly a murky colour. So we'll see if that clears out. Okay, so flushing the engine now. Got the clean hosed water going in at the top. And we can see that there's a lot of muck flushing out now. I've got the bottom radiator hose on properly. And here's the water coming out. And that's definitely flushing out a lot of rubbish. So So we'll run this until that cleans up. Okay, so here's the water flushing out now. A couple of minutes of running, and that's running clear. Pretty clear now. Catching in the fan and splashing around a bit, but you see that water is pretty clear now. So we've flushed the block. Now, of course, with cold water going in at the top of the radiator now, temperature's not coming up at all, or not much at all. So that's not surprising since we've got cold tap water coming in. But that's going to flush the engine pretty well, but I might drop the bottom radiator hose anyway and just drain the engine, and then I don't know, I might put the coolant in and box it up. So what I've been doing is I've been waiting for that to fill up and pour, and then revving the engine and pumping. And when I started doing that, the water, when I revved, if you look now, the water was coming out when I revved it was quite murky, and now it's clearing up. So I'm thinking that this is probably, again, I'm thinking this is probably as good a way as flushing out the engine as any. I'm using the water pump to push the air, push the water through the motor, and it's just filling it up. But the water coming out of the hose now is pretty clear. And when I rev it, the water is still staying clear. So I think that that's showing that I've flushed the motor well enough. Well, I can't say what it was like before, but if I can get the light in right, so it's not glaring. There's definitely, I mean, there's a little bit of iron oxide left there maybe, but it's hard to say. That's coming out for the yeah, there's still some. There we go. That's what it looks like for me. I wish I'd videoed it before. And if we look into the, here's the other side of the thermostat housing. I think that was completely caked. So I think we can say that we've removed a lot of the stuff, but there's still some traces in there. It's not like it was brand new, but anyway, we know that we've flushed a fair bit of stuff out of the engine. And the water is definitely running clean now. The real test will be when I put the cowling back on, I guess, and we see what it does. I mean, that stuff around the outside won't have seen it, this stuff on the ring around the edge, because that's covered by the gasket. So if we make a comparison between that, we've got, if we assume that the rest of it was like that ring around the outside here, which I think is reasonably safe to say, and we've definitely removed a lot of stuff, but it would have been maybe nicer if that whole thing was like that rather than, yeah, if it was all like this, I think that's probably what you'd be hoping for. But if it was all like the ring on the outside in there, then it has removed a lot of stuff. Well, we know it has removed a lot of stuff. So I guess I do have another treatment. I could do it again. I won't do it again right now, it's a big job, but I may, if it's not staying cool, I may actually run it a second time, go through the process again. But yeah, broadly speaking, I really wish I'd videoed this before. I really do. Yeah. Well, wait and see. Okay. Alright, so I put the thermostat back in. I have filled it with coolant. I drained the whole motor, took the bottom radiator hose off and drained the whole engine. So I'm anticipating it should warm up faster than it did, because it's got a thermostat in it. I don't have the cowling on yet, and I think before I saw it get up to temperature and then cool back down again, and if that's the case, that's the first time I've seen it do it. So I will wait until this heats up and then see if it comes back down again. Got up to temperature. This is only 30 seconds or so later, and I think the thermostat's just opened and the temperature dropped. Now, I have heard that you need to have the thermostat in to get a car to run cool enough, because the water will flow too quickly and it doesn't exchange the heat in the radiator. Now, whether that's right or not, I'm not sure, but we can see that it's gone down and now it's come back up again, and if it starts to cool again, then we are actually sitting on the thermostat, and that is what I've been chasing all along. And I don't have the cowling in. I'll put the cowling in, but if this can keep the temperature without the cowling, then with the cowling it's going to be even better. So here we go, sitting on halfway. Does it keep going up, or does it come back down? I will let you know. So this is at least 5 minutes later. It's hovering around 3/4, but not going above it. If it stops climbing, and still remember I don't have the cowling on it, so we're not getting as much airflow through. We're just trying to avoid boiling. And this is so far not, it's got to here and it's just staying here. So even that's a win. I might let this cool down and then put the cowling on and compare how it runs with this. Okay, so without the cowling on, it has gone up to close to 3/4. We'll see whether it comes down again at all. I wonder what happens if I rev it. Alright. Keep watching it. Now I have the cowling back on. It's a little annoying getting these screws in, but it is really firm in place. It's not rattling at all, so these new clamps that I've got work fine. And as you see, we've got both sides. If we look over there, the fan is, I don't know, centimetre away, 5 mil, something like that. And if we look over here, we've got plenty of clearance. That one's definitely further away. I'll have a look in here. I'd say 5 mil. But that's enough. So, fan all clear, cowling installed, coolant system cleaned, new coolant. So, now it's time to see what happens with the temperature. But the air will now be being pulled through the radiator for sure. So hopefully I don't have to worry about the temperature of this car anymore. But we will see. Well, I'm not 100% sure what temperature the thermostat cuts in at, but still getting up above 175. It is definitely taking longer to get up there. I've been idling for quite a while now. But if this car ever overheats, it's not for want of trying. So, still got plenty of room before it overheats. And it's sitting, what, around 200 or something? So with a radiator cap and coolant, we can get up to 250 before it boils. I've seen that. It definitely has been a lot slower to get up to this temperature, so it's certainly exchanging more heat. So I'll let it idle a bit longer and see where it goes to.